Today we're going to deep dive into the OceanGate Waiver.
I'm gonna keep it real with you.
We are inside the submersible Titan, which is a carbon fiber and titanium sub that can go to the depths of the Titanic.
The latest now on the tragic end to the search for that submersible carrying 5 people to the wreckage of the Titanic. The Coast Guard saying that Titan submersible suffered an apparent implosion, killing all 5 people on board.
So we wanted to give you some insight with regards to how lawyers address these situations when someone, an injured party or family member, has been damaged or harmed by someone else's negligence. How we view these things and these circumstances, especially involving waivers. Because I've been hearing so much about waivers and gosh, they signed their lives away, nothing can be done. And because they've signed off on this waiver that says if something happens to you, we're not responsible, that's the end of the story. Or is it? As a business owner, you want to protect your interest. You want to make sure that the people that you're doing business with have the least amount of opportunity or window with which to sue you if you do something negligently or wrong. So what do? You get them to sign off on a waiver. What a waiver is, an express written document that suggests that if I, as a business owner, am doing something wrong to you, you signed off that you are aware of this, you knew about this, you knew what might happen, and you've accepted that risk, and you can't sue me if something bad happens. Well, so what happens then when something bad does actually happen? The vessel will be subject to extreme pressure, and any failure of that pressure while I am aboard could cause severe injury or death. So it does specifically state that. And if you're signing off on a document that says, hey, you're gonna go on this ride with me, and if something bad happens, you could die, and you sign off saying that you're out of it, or that you're not holding us responsible, according to this document, they're screwed, right? That's what it says. That's what you've signed off on. Isn't that correct? I don't know. I release all the parties of any injuries or any damages resulting in my death arising out of or in any way connected with my participation in the operation, including travel to the from or from the operation site. There is an explicit paragraph in here that says that I am specific. I hereby release, waive, and forever discharge OceanGate Expeditions and all the rest of the companies from any and all liability if anything happens while I'm going to the site, while I'm going down, while I return. I forever release and hold harmless Ocean and all the rest of the companies. That's what this specific document says. So that means they're out of it, right? Wrong. I don't agree with that at all. Wrong.
Okay, so experts say that wrongful death and negligence lawsuits are likely. They could be successful, but the big thing to keep in mind is a challenge to any lawsuit would be that all of the passengers definitely signed waivers that warn them that things could go wrong and even result in their death. So there's that as well.
OceanGate failed to disclose very important information to its clients. They failed to disclose that some of their engineers, according to reports, is their director of marine operations. He disclosed to them, hey, you guys have a problem. There's a problem with this design. I don't like what's going to happen if we continue doing what we're doing. And what did they do when he gave them this information? They fired him. As a result, what he said exactly happened to these same people. He was in charge of this project, of this very specific submersible. And what he specifically warned against, exactly what happened. So they think they can get out of this by firing the man in charge of their safety, by getting you to sign some waiver. That waiver is not worth the paper it's printed on. I would sue on this all day long. This company's got a huge problem. You're going to see this case get resolved for a whole bunch of money because this company clearly did the wrong thing in every aspect of how it handled this, in my humble opinion. So guys, dealing with waivers is something that I'm very, very used to. In dealing with many companies, with Walmart, with Target, with all kinds of different companies where my clients have been on their premises, have been injured, sometimes suffering significant injury, sometimes even death, I have to deal with these waivers all the time. And almost every single time, we find ways to punch holes in those waivers, show the companies the error of their ways, and then guess what they eventually do? They have to settle these cases because we're ready. We get the case ready for trial. We show them where their waiver is, and we show them where they failed to give our client the proper notice to have them make an informed decision. If they failed to do that,
Their waiver is not worth the paper it's printed on.
if I was handling the OceanGate cases, okay, the first thing that opposing counsel is most likely going to do is introduce those waivers. Hey, you can't bring this suit because they filed these specific waivers. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is let them know I'm going to continue. I'm going to fight the waivers. I'm going to let them know how those waivers were ineffective. I'm going to disregard them. It's defense position. If they want to use that as their defense with regards to, oh, well, yes, we understand that the people got injured and they died and they lost their lives and everything else, but they signed this piece of paper saying that they agreed to do that. I'm going to show why those waivers are ineffective. They didn't put enough information into those waivers and they're not worth anything. Disregard them. Don't worry about them. You need to compensate my clients who lost their life because OceanGate failed to give the proper notice, failed to give the proper warnings, failed to make sure that the submersible was safe. If they failed to do all those things, those waivers are absolutely should be thrown out the window. And I'm gonna keep moving forward and I'm gonna keep fighting until a jury or a judge gives me the money that my clients deserve. Okay, guys, well, hopefully I've given you some insight with regards to waivers. This is a really important issue for a lot of my clients with regards to when they receive certain injuries. I'm sorry that we had to deal with it, with dealing with all this loss of life here, but hopefully now you have a little better understanding with regards to what waivers mean. Quite frankly, I don't care about waivers. I don't mind signing on waivers because I know in most cases, the companies don't disclose all the key issues that they need to in a particular waiver. So in most cases, quite frankly, almost every case that I've been through in the last 23, 24 years, we're able to get around those waivers and still get our clients compensated. Hopefully I've given you some insight with regards to waivers, whether they're effective or not, and how you can get around them. I hope that's been helpful for you. I'm attorney D. Miller, and you know what I'm gonna say next. This is DLAW.